welcome everybody of the World Wide Web. So it is movie review time. So we only have one movie review for this week, and it is Transformers 1. So yes, this is the new animated movie, the first one to be since the 1984, I believe, movie that we all know and love. Obviously, the original movie is in my top 5. I tried to not pay attention to that, but we shall get into it. Anybody who does or doesn't know, this is, the new incarnation, new actors and actresses playing the roles. It kind of blends elements in, but it is the friendship between D16 / who we know as Megatron and Orion Pax, as we know as Optimus Prime. It is leads to living in kind of Cybertron as minors, and then finding out there has kind of been a whole lie about their whole society and everything that goes on with them. The film is an hour and 44 minutes long. It has 2 credit scenes. It has one at the very beginning and one at the very end. They are not really, one's funny, one's kind of just to kind of stamp on a part of the story. And I did really enjoy it. I will give it that much. So I will stick the spoiler warning up. Let's tilt the camera as well, because it's getting more bright, and we shall get into it. So this story starts off, as I've said, you get to meet the characters of Orion Pax. Orion Pax has broken into the archive records, and he's trying to figure out what has happened to essentially what I call the Primes. So this is the whole story of essentially, like, many 50 cycles ago, the Quintessons came to Cybertron, and basically there was a massive battle between them and what the Primes. The Primes have all gone missing, and so has the Matrix of Leadership. The only person to survive was Sentinel Prime, and he now rules the world, kind of. He's the hero. He goes out to the surface world and tries to find what went on. And obviously Cybertron is below the ground, and this is where basically they mine the Energon, because obviously it doesn't flow anymore, because the Matrix of Leadership does not exist. That is in a nutshell. Obviously, we have quite a varied voice talent in this. So we have Chris Hemsworth as Orion Pax, Brian Tyree Henry as D16, Scarlett Johansson as Alita 1, and Keenan Michael Kell as B127. They're the main 4 characters that we meet of their story going through it. And then obviously other characters, Steve Buscemi plays the voice of Starscream, Lawrence Fishburne as Alpha Trion, and a bit of narration, and John Hamm as Sentinel Prime. This movie is directed by Josh Cooley. His only other kind of main feature that he's directed is Toy Story 4. So he's done quite good animated movies. So as I said, this is kind of the Orion Pax has broken into records, and he's looking for kind of the history records of what happened to. He then gets chased, and this is where he gets chased by a transformer called Dreadwing, and manages to escape by bumping into D16 part of the way through. And then you get to see that these guys are friends. They've been friends for a long time, but they are what are called cogless, so they don't have the cogs, so they can't transform. But Optimus is kind of always wanting to kind of jump out. That's why he breaks into the archive records. And there's this massive race that Sentinel Prime does every year, and this is tomorrow. So Optimus Prime manages to kind of convince D16 to enter the race. They mostly make it through. Unfortunately, due to a set of events, they don't make it they don't get to cross the finish line, but they are seen on all the TV cameras, and people are like, oh, these guys are amazing or something. Unfortunately, because they annoy a lot of the Transformers within this, they end up getting rid of them and chucked into a kind of ground level 50 on Cybertron itself. Whereas Waste Management, this is where they meet B127, or Bumblebee as we know him. Very weird. He's obviously been alone by himself. And also this is kind of the pickup point of Alita. So Alita 1 you do see very early on. She helps out with the miners, but due to an incident, she gets demoted to this level, and this is where they all kind of come together. Optimus or Orion Pax and D meeting Bumblebee or B. They come across this record that seems to be from Alpha Trion. Alpha Trion? Yeah, I think Alpha Trion. Basically a message, and this is giving coordinates. So they want to go to the surface to find this, and think that if they do this and present this to Sentinel Prime, they will kind of they won't be miners anymore, and they'll do more with their life. So this is where the 3 of them escape. As they're escaping on the train, they are met by Elita 1, who then gets taken kind of into the group, into the train. As the train goes to the surface, and then this is where they kind of meet, you know, they're the first kind of robots outside of Sentinel Prime and his people to be on the surface. So they decide to head towards, Alpha Sigma? Am I saying the name? Hang on. Sorry about that, had to get Alpha Trion. So I don't know why I keep getting that name mixed up. So yes, Alpha Trion is the last, or the recorded prime that they have. He's on the surface, and so these four robots make their way to it. As they're going across the surface, they come across Quintessons. Quintessons have been scanning the planet. Their understanding is that they won a battle 50 cycles ago and have never been back to Cybertron. So this is very confusing for them when they find Alpha Trion. They was kind of discussing Alpha Trion has the big revelation that Sentinel Prime actually betrayed them all. He's in league with the Quintessons, and this is it. Unfortunately, that doesn't go down well. Orion Pax is very upset with the betrayal, but wants to kind of make everybody aware. D16, so Megatron, actually is very, very upset. He is one of the primes, was his kind of idol, Sentinel Prime. He looked up to and he's betrayed, and he starts to get angry. This is where the two friends kind of start to drift a little bit apart. Alpha Trion, helping them, decides to release 4 cogs that are still within some of the primes. So these Transformers can then transform, and he explains that Sentinel basically removes these cogs from before they're online. So all these miners were actually able to transform, but he kind of leads a kind of has them as slaves, and you find out just after this scene that basically he is a slave to the Quintessons, and the energon that they're mining is actually for the Quintessons. Obviously, as the 4 Autobot or 4 Transformers get the transforming cogs, they have a few battle against Sentinel Prime's team, who realizes that they've found something out. He manages to capture Alpha Trion and takes him back to the core, and tries to track these 4 down. While these 4 are trying to escape, they then come across a guard, or like some Imperial guards, that basically are essentially the Decepticons. The Decepticons were a class guard. They are run by Starscream. In between a meeting and some back and forth, and D16 find out he can create a big cannon from his arm. They are then attacked by Sentinel Prime's armada. A lot of them are kidnapped, and then this kind of leads to Orion Pax and Elita 1 being the only ones to survive. This is where they come up with a plan to get their people back. There's a lot more involved. Orion Pax goes back and gets all the miners on his side. Elita gets the rest of this elite guard together, and then they kind of have a massive battle with Sentinel Prime, and also leaking out what he has done. During the process of this, D16 realizes that he basically wants to kill Sentinel Prime and he won't be stopped, and he kind of turns really evil. Orion Pax steps in the way and takes a blast and blows half of his left arm off and half of his chest, and he falls basically into the core of the planet. During this process, D16 kills Sentinel Prime, takes the cog from him, and then becomes Megatron, and basically wants to rule everything and destroy everything that Sentinel Prime has ever made, leading chaos. While this is happening, Orion Pax goes into the core, becomes Optimus Prime by getting the Matrix of leadership. He comes back to Earth and there's an epic fight. Optimus Prime wins, the Autobots are saved, and this is kind of it. The Decepticons, or the bad guys, are then led off, and that's where we go to. And then obviously the 2 clips are, one's a funny one with Bumblebee, and the final one is them being branded as the Decepticons. There's a lot more involved in that, but that's the whole story more or less as a nutshell. What did I think of this movie? Now, I did really like this movie. I will rate this movie 7.5 out of 10. Now I have to, so when I first watched the trailer, weren't too big a fan of the designs, but I did like the look and feel of the planet and stuff, what they had done. I weren't sure on the voices. Now, the voices across the board were actually brilliant. Chris Hemsworth, I didn't really notice. Brian Tyree Henry, I thought he was really good as a new Megatron. And even Keenan Michael Kay, I thought he was really funny, but most of his funny parts had already been shown within the trailers, so it bit defeated him. But he did have a thing where he wanted to, like, he did a Megatron voice, which I thought was quite funny, and he kept having this recurring joke about it. Say an Elite One and even Starscream, Steve Buscemi, I thought was actually really, really great. And Lawrence Fishburne, Alpha Trion. I think the voices, everything had really, really well. I mean, the look of the movie, the story, the fact they take elements from other movies and other lines of Transformers. Obviously, it had Beast Wars because you had Arachna, a Black Arachnia, but she wasn't called a Black Arachnia in this one, and a few other characters throughout. Obviously, Elita 1 is more of a new one, but you get to see RC and Ironhide and all this stuff like that, and I thought it was quite great. The animation was spot on for it. Obviously, all new designs to promote the toys. So yeah, I did thoroughly enjoy it, but you're probably wondering, well, you really enjoy it, you're singing all these praises, but why are you having 7.5? Now, for me, obviously, the original film sits very fondly. I never watched it as a kid. I watched it as a teenager, but I love Transformers. I love the soundtrack. I love a lot to it. And this is around a pivotal time for me when I got into movies. The Transformers movie is so much more because you got several series of the show before you actually got to see the film. So the world was already built, so it didn't need to explain, and you had epic fights and stuff. You don't get this as much in this because they have to build the story, because this is kind of a retelling. Two, obviously this film came out in America several weeks before it came out in the UK. It took me a few weeks to be able to see it in the UK, and it was leaked everywhere online. And to be honest, all I ever heard with it is everybody going, it's amazing, it's great, it's fun. And yes, I do think it is. But to be honest, I got so sick of these people, and I'm not taking anyone personally. I did have friends say so well, but just kind of overwhelmed with everybody going, it's amazing, it's amazing, it's amazing. But it was very much putting me off going to see it. Now, I would go see it because I found the fact it also is, when I see a movie specifically with something like Transformers and it's a franchise and stuff, I very much go into it and you're thinking, oh my God, I can't wait to see what they've done for the new one. Now, unfortunately, I think it's only just made its budget back now. This did very poorly in America because it was basically leaked online, and all the fans of Transformers, a lot of them went to see it pirated. I know a lot of them have seen it repeatedly, and hats off to you. It's your choice to do what you do. But with this movie, unfortunately, I know going into it at this level, it's very unlikely we're going to get anything else. Yes, it was really, really great, but that's it. There probably won't be a TV series or another movie or anything of this, because literally people didn't turn up to the movies to go see it. Yes, it may, and it may, in the instance of like this, because of the toys do really well, and it actually does promote more. I could be wrong. Really, kind of, this whole year with movies has been a bit disheartening for me, and the feeling, there have been a few films. I was like it with Dune 2. I was really looking forward to it, and to be honest, the buzz of it and so many people singing its praises and stuff, I just got so sick of it that I actually didn't enjoy it. And this is one of these movies where I look forward to getting it and watching it a year down the line when the buzz fails. And actually, I think the 7.5 could easily go probably into the 8s, because I say Alpha Trion, the design of him and stuff, I really, really liked it. And there's those elements and art styles that, because I really like them, make the movie even better for me. And that's quite, I think, an amazing thing. And the fact I love a movie that was made 40 years ago or almost, animated, and I rate it probably like 9, that to have something that would probably go into the 8s and not too far of it, that far apart, I think would be a testament to the skills and the people behind this. But yeah, that is my review. As I say, 7.5 out of 10. I think it's still quite a good movie. I look forward to re-seeing it. I won't probably go see it again at cinema, but I would advise, if people do like it, do go see it. It doesn't cost, there are vouchers, there are stuff out there that you could go see it. And if you're a Transformer fan, you're helping promote something that will go towards the future of it. Anyway, that has been my review of Transformers 1. Have you seen the movie? What do you think? Put your thoughts and feelings down in the comment below, and I shall see you in the next one.